This is a part of a course where we learn Godot by making a 2D game, a vampire survival clone with a scalable architecture. Press like if it's been useful. In this part, we're gonna add eventbus pattern to set up communication between app parts, also add constant module and handlers for our game events. Before we move further in our game development, I want to talk with you about a very interesting part. It's spaghetti code. You could hear this in some tutorials, some videos, maybe somewhere on chats. But what does it mean? Well, here is your project. Let's say you have a file with some gameplay logic. Let's say, I don't know, maybe it's a player. Then you will have more files like maybe enemy, maybe some other logic that will be reused, or just I don't know, some separated module. Let's say damage, you will use it to calculate damage when any entity wants to make damage to any other. And here is a thing, how you could manage the workflow between these modules, because player needs reference to an enemy needs a reference to the player, and both need reference to damage, and they need to call it functions and so on. Well, the easiest way, and the first one you could think, is just to call the needed function from needed module, and that's it. Let's say we have here function, let's call it, I don't know, make damage, where you maybe pass a reference to who you like to make damage or something else, doesn't matter like now. But we take this function and just call it here in the player. Okay, and it will work, we'll pass the current enemy and that's it. Enemy could use this function. Maybe you have other module like spawn, and you have here functions like create enemy or create particles. I will call just spawn something, and the same thing, you just call needed function in all needed places. When you like make damage, you also could want to make some spawn, I don't know, some effect particles, sprites, and so on. And you already could see the problem. You have an player module that calls damage logic and also manage some spawn logic. So the player is not just about the player itself, it's also about making damage, spawning stuff, and many much more. The more your game will become complicated, more this stuff will grow, and when you go back to make some adjustments or just you need to add new features, you're like, hey, where does the enemy, where does the damage logic lies? And you go to damage file, but you see that there are a few functions, but they're not calling here. Okay, and you go and search between all places that could use this logic, and it become just a real mess. You can't just open a file knowing that all needed logic lies there because it's a damage module. No, it will be between, I don't know, maybe half of your project, and this become a mess. Every file is calling any file it needs, and everything become mixed up. That's what is a spaghetti code, because every your file, every your logic is like a line of spaghetti, and there are mixed up between them. It's very hard to maintain. It's almost impossible to find every stuff you need. It's so much difficult to work with such code. And what can we do with this stuff? Well, there is a pattern that is called eventbus. The idea is to have some maintainer, someone in between all of them, so they could communicate through this entity. Here is our player, here is our enemy, here is our damage, spawn, and many much other more. So in eventbus, you will hold signals like do damage maybe, or again it's a signal, or spawn something like spawn tree or anything else, but just a plain signals. And it's everything it does, it just holds the signals. And when you need like to make damage, or to say, your player should say, hey, I did damage, or I did some stuff, I did some action, and game should know about it and make and handled it. So player will emit a signal like I don't know, chop the tree, and all needed modules that should call some actions and listen to these events, they'll just listen those signals, and when it happens, they're called their logic. So the idea is player stay clear. It just says, hey, I did this, hey, I did that, and modules that handle this logic, they just listen and do it. They handle this logic. No spaghetti. Player holds only code about the player actions, and like spawn handle only the spawn logic, and they listen to the signals or emit those signals. And this code is much cleaner and much easier to scale and maintain. Just a small issue I could highlight here for you. Well, when you want to work to work out who did the spawn, I don't know, spawn a stone, you need to print the entire tree, like add print for the call stack in your function and see who did emit the signal, what functions were invoked, or you will need to track to find the using signal name who used the signal and where does it emit. So the tracking is not that clear, but much cleaner than when every function, every module, every script could call any function from any other module it has reference to. So we will use eventbus in our game. Most games use it as global. I mean global when you use your project settings, globals, and add it here. I won't do it because I already said I don't like to make Sentry as like a mess, holding here dozens of modules of scripts that they don't need to be in the Sentry. We will have just one reference in the global module. So what do we need now? First, let's go to our references. Our gameplay, node refs, and we need two more references. In previous part we add those bars for health and experience, so the game should have the references so we can listen to them and update them and so on. Add here player XP progress bar, it's a progress bar type, and player HP progress bar. Next, let's move to our autoloads folder where the scripts autoloads, yeah, and add here a new script, call it eventbus. And for now we will have just one event. I will make a section using commands for gameplay. You could use different event buses simultaneously, like one event bus for your app, like changing scenes or showing ads, one for gameplay, but I will use one because our project is pretty small and no need in such separation. And here will be a signal unit ready. We need the signal to know when a certain unit like player, enemy, and so on are ready in our game, so we can use them, process them, and so on. And you see here this rule: warning, ignore, unused signal. Those rules help you to shut down the warnings if you enable them in your code, because Godot sees, hey, here in the script there is a signal, but it's unused. How does it check, is it used or not? Only in those scripts, it doesn't check other scripts. So if in this script you didn't use the signal for emission or connection in any way, well, it will mark it as warning. And if you don't want to have dozens of those warnings in your output when you run the game, just add this rule. It's fine, because we definitely know that we're gonna use it. Well, or you're sure that you will use it. Okay. After adding the eventbus module, we need to add it to asset register because we will load it in our game. So add register assets, our oh no, here it is, eventbus, use its UID, and don't forget to add the eventbus to our test all list. This list, I remind you, is used in our test scenes. All those models, all those assets will be loaded by names. So the eventbus should be loaded too, so we can use it and reference it. We need a place where we will hold our constants, some values needed for our entire app, I mean in different modules. So now let's move to our core and just in the core folder create constants gd. For now we will have just one enum unit type. We will have player and enemy. We will need it to mark which unit scene is player or an enemy, so we can handle them differently. If you don't know what is in enum, it's just a list of values, like names for your spells, names for your abilities, or any other names that you could use. Next, under the gameplay folder, we need to create handlers for our signals. We already have one signal is unit ready, and now in gameplay create gameplay event handler, this module. We add a init function. This function you see is led by /. It means when this script will be instantiated, this function will be called by Godot in the moment when the object of the script is created. And here we take global, eventbus, unit ready signal and connect to it by our function on unit ready. We take the unit who's ready, who emit the signal, and now we should check using match. Is it player or wizard and enemy. If it's enemy, we don't handle it for now, so just mark it as a pass. And if it's a player, we set up our player listeners. We take our player. Here I used base unit scene because at this point we don't know what type of unit we got here. But here we are sure that it's a player, so it's player unit scene. And we take player XP component, HP component, and listen to its signals. For XP it's XP change, for HP it's just changed. And when XP changed, we take the core XP and update in our global gameplay node reference. We take the progress bar, we already create this variable, and update its value. And same for HP, but using HP progress bar. And now don't forget also this event handler should be added to assets registrar. Same as event bus, add event handler. I name it just event handler. You could name it gameplay event handler UID and add this name to our test list. Now let's move to our base unit scene. Base unit, yeah, here it is. Open the script and add here new export variable. Name it unit type, and type will be constants unit type. Pay attention, we don't have reference for the constants in our globals. We just use the class name, because every script that has class name will be loaded and you will have reference to the class name in the Godot. So you don't need manually to instantiate it, and you just can access its properties. We take here the enum type. So every unit will have this property, and now when you open your player scene, you will see it unit type and set it to the player. Also, in the base unit, in our init function, the function that we will call manually when our player is ready, we init here HP, live component, and also add this global event bus unit ready. We will emit that this unit is ready, so we pass the reference to our self. So we use self. Self is a reference to the script. We already used reference to event bus from our global module, but we didn't add them. So open the global script and add here event bus, and the type is event bus. Same in gameplay, we need to add here our event handler module. Now open our test scene for the consumables, and we need to adjust the dev app init. What we need to change here? First, add export variables for our player unit, because now we need the reference to it to init it, and also reference to the progress bars from our player viewport. If you forget, you can enable the access to the children using the editable children in the editor. Now, a bit lower, we need to for global set event bus and get the event bus from assets manager. Same for gameplay event handler. Also, not references, add those two lines. We need to get reference to set reference for the progress bar. We get them by export variables, and for HP bar, XP and HP bars. And also, you see, we take those bars and set their value by player current XP, and same we set also max value by XP component next level XP. Same for HP bar, the current value and the max value. Those lines removed our previous TMP section. I said that we used just for temporal test. Now that's how our real production code will look like. We take the real reference to our nodes, set them to global, and set their initial values. Next, we should check if our player is not ready yet, because when the dev app init script will be processed, when we come to this line, the player scene could be still not ready yet. So if it's not, we just need to wait for ready signal. And when it's ready, we call player unit init function. And also, when I at first launched this test again, I got an error because in my player unit scene, the live component didn't have the HP component reference. So check all your components have reference they should have. Also, don't forget to check the player unit scene that you instantiated in your consumables test. And that's it. We are ready to launch and check that our progress bars will also update, but now they use the event bus yeah, they works. So what's going on here? We have now, oh no, back. We have eventbus with a signal for unit ready. And when our player is ready, it emits the signal while our other module, events handler, our gameplay events handler, is listening to this signal, checks who was that player or an enemy, and set up the listeners for HP and XP. And when they change, we will see those using reference from our node res module to update values for our player. And this all is clean, understandable, and using eventbus. All our core game logic will use the eventbus to communicate to each other. So I could say that entire app will be used around the eventbus. Same will be when we'll add changing for our scenes, like from main menu we will move to level and back to main menu and so on. So eventbus is pretty much crucial stuff in your project, so you should clearly understand what it does and why you should use it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to press like and see you in the next one.